When do you want me to?
Hey scrappers, it's Tom from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, which means it's our time for our weekly report on YouTube and on Facebook. What are we going to talk about today? Market news, market updates, what you should expect at your scrapyard. Hey scrappers, it's Tom from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, which means it's our time for our weekly report on
Good, we're live. iScrappers, Tom from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, and after briefly having Wi-Fi difficulties, we waved our scrap magic wand, and just that, we pulled the laptop out of the dumpster, threw it onto the table, and here we are up and running. So we hope everyone is doing well, scrapping often, staying busy. Like we said, today is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, and if you are looking to do and have any questions for us during our live report, by all means, let us know. If you watch us after hours, also not a problem, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, put questions there and we'll make sure to get those answers back to you. But things we want to talk about right off the bat. Copper got hammered today, down 15 cents a pound. We've seen a lot of people signing up for our Patreon accounts. So if you're looking to learn more about these markets, get more price alerts like copper dropping, I don't know, 15 cents a pound out of nowhere, make sure you become a Patreon subscriber, and we'll make sure not only to thank you, but we'll also send you a couple of cool stickers in the mail, give you a little more information throughout the month so you can continue to make more money with your scrap. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the scrap markets, as they were relatively flat until this morning, but here we are experiencing a massive hiccup during the day. There's lots of different things that go into it. Now, up until yesterday, we really had a very smooth sailing market. If you have any questions about the scrap market while we're doing our live feed, by all means, ask them and we'll get back to you quickly. So up until yesterday, the market was relatively tame, up or down. It really had a nice growth Monday and Tuesday. We saw it regain about 10 cents a pound over those that two-day period. Very optimistic. Woke up this morning. Market was down 5 to 6 cents. Nothing too crazy. We saw a couple of dips last week that ended up turning themselves around and becoming evens or positives. So I wasn't too worried. But as the morning unfolded on the business sense, we saw a bunch of stuff happening. You know, this is the first time I've ever mentioned cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically, went from $44,000 per Bitcoin down to $33,000 per Bitcoin. And it's slightly recovered itself right now around $37,000, but the reason I mention it is because it really threw a big hiccup. The Chinese government said that they had a lot of doubts about cryptocurrency. That really spooked the market, which caused a 30% drop this morning in crypto. And right now, the crypto market, the stock market, the commodities market, the trading market, the oil markets, all these things are really just feeding off of each other's, especially with major market events that are happening. And when you have major shakeups in different sectors, they generally will have a bit of a carryover, a hangover, domino effect is probably the best piece, to some of these other markets, which is exactly what we've seen. Copper dropped almost 20 cents a pound at one point earlier this morning. I came out of a meeting and went from like 7 cents down to 19 cents and just kind of shake yourself up a little bit. But we've seen those prices be affected, but we've seen a slight rebound since that happened, and the stock market was down almost 600 points, and we're only down around 250 right now, which also shows that we are seeing a little bit of a bounce back from the bad news that we saw earlier. But none of these things really should surprise you. You know, I had a friend text me saying, oh my gosh, the market's down. And I said to him, I go, this is what's going to happen when you have such a big run up. When you have the markets for copper going from $2.50 to $4.50, or steel prices going from $100 a ton to $200 a ton, or aluminum from 50 cents a pound trading to $1 a pound trading. When you double different markets, and we're not even talking about how wood has gone up 4 to 5 times in value, oil prices have gone up over $1 a gallon. All of the different things are major market movers. I was talking to one of my teammates last week, and we were just talking about inflation. And are we scared of it? Is it coming? Is it here? What should we expect? How's it going to affect different things? Because, inflationary periods, they really have an incredible effect on so much stuff. Think about just garage doors, right? We had to get a new garage door at the scrapyard. We got a quote for it. It was X dollars. Well, today I got an email saying that if orders are not placed by June 4th, that all orders for materials are going to go up 20%. Well, what does that mean? That means that there's not only a supply crunch, but the material crunch for all the people that bought stuff in advance is starting to run its course because their inventory is depleting of the cheaper products. And the new stuff getting put on the shelves or being ordered is going to be more expensive. And I'll give you, something you can think about. Go to Home Depot. A 2x4 costs, I don't know, $5 3 months ago. Well, today that same 2x4 is $12. Now, maybe it didn't go from 5 to 12 overnight, but what did happen is you probably saw a dollar increase, 50-cent increase, because as those timber prices rose, we saw that carry over into the lumber market, and Home Depot eventually raised all its rates, which is what we've seen. Now, my math is not going to be completely right. I don't follow the exact pricing of 2x4s, but the point is that when you have different periods like we're going through, with trillions of dollars that were never here before added into an economy, which was already trillions in debt, but when you get those trillions of dollars and you distribute it to so many Americans, thousands of dollars of stimulus money, at one point that money is going to go out and it's going to buy stuff. And the stuff that you buy, because Americans do love their stuff, whether it's extra refrigerator, a new iPhone, or of course a scrap pickup truck, we love our stuff. And because we love our stuff, you don't always look at what the prices will be in the future. You think about what the price is today. But large auto manufacturers like Ford, Chevrolet, Tesla, any of these guys that are producing major equipment, major cars or production lines, they look at all of these different commodity events because the hangover and the domino effect really pushes itself out in advance. And what we're going to see happen right now with these metal prices jumping might not be today, but you're going to start to see increased pricing across the board for anything from a cell phone to a refrigerator to a car. And we have a question that we'd love to answer.
Is there a serious shortage of copper or not? My husband works in the PCB industry and insists there isn't enough copper to supply for quantities of EV.
Yeah, so that's an question. Is there a shortage of copper? The answer is no. Today, there is not a shortage of copper. But from all the articles that I'm reading, if this electric vehicle push continues, the amount of copper that's going to be needed for not only the cars themselves, for the motor windings and the different electrical in these EV cars, you're also going to have that infrastructure. And they're going to try to utilize aluminum as a conductor of electricity as much as possible. But some of the longer runs, you're going to need a massive amount of copper, especially at larger charging sites. You might need copper for the different transformers, for the wires running to the power. There's going to be copper involved. And yes, there is enough copper out there, but one of the things that's going to happen is there will start to become a supply crunch. The mines down in Chile, they mine about 28% ore that comes out of the ground. Well, that number has dipped down over the years, but with that number, do we go off? So annoying. I saw a little white light go off.
Okay.
Good. Oh, we're back. Sorry. So with the amount of copper that's going to be needed in these EV markets, we're looking at them and saying, okay, well, we're still going to need copper in day-to-day life, whether it's Romex or THHN or regular wire for houses. You're going to need all these different wires, and it's going to be really difficult to get a good idea on how much material we're going to need until the push really starts. And right now, while we're talking about the EV market, the real push hasn't started, but because we've been talking about it so much, that's one of the major reasons you've seen a push up in copper. Because a lot of manufacturers buy copper or other commodities like steel in advance. They'll buy thousands of tons. They'll have the prices hedged out. This way they know what their costs are. They can build those costs into the pricing of cars. Then they have a buffer between 3 and 10% for commodity swings. And that's how it generally works. Sometimes they make more money if the prices go up because they can upcharge even though their material costs are cheaper. There's just little fluctuations that go as you go, but they all end up evening themselves out, like copper dropping 15 cents a pound. But when you have so many dynamics in play like we do today, pandemics, supply chain, high commodity prices, oil crunch, pipeline shut down for 2 weeks, that Suez Canal a month and a half ago happening, when you have all of these things happening at one time, then you throw the whole worldwide pandemic, supply chains, India in trouble, potential war between Israel. You have all these different things going on, and all these things spook investors. Because what are investors like? They like stable. They can make money on stable. They can get dividends off of stable. Copper manufacturers can buy material when it's stable. Manufacturers for cars or phones or electronics, they can buy and they know that things are stable. But when you have a lot of outside economic factors, which we have today, that create instability, then those factors are going to have an overlying domino effect on the market that are going to really shake things up, and that's what we've seen recently. Take car batteries, for instance. Car batteries used to be 40, 50 cents a pound once upon a time. Here we are with all other commodity prices moving, and car batteries and lead prices relatively flat. Why? The overall use for those two metals have been decreased so much compared to what they once were that you have an issue when it comes to where the prices are and how the metal is going to be utilized moving forward. Then you have another metal like tin. I'm not talking about light iron, but I'm talking about tin like in solder. And now you have such a shortage of semiconductors, but what you also have is an abundance of need for electrical equipment, for electronics, for tooling. And what do those things need? They need circuit boards to control the unit, and they need to be able to solder the different chips, circuit boards. So the solder that is out there right now has never had a greater demand because of the high cost of all things right now to push those prices up. So we've seen all types of different economic swings over the years. And one thing that's really cool, this summer, our newest iScrap app 2.0 that's coming out is going to give you the ability to view some of these historical prices, to view some of the price charts, to learn more about how different things ebb and flow, how different market events affect things. You can check out blogs that we have, learn about different metals that we're talking about, or different tips that we've come out with. And of course, you can always become a Patreon supporter, and you've been receiving many of these tips for months at a time, because that's what we're trying to do, give you a little extra information to help you make more money with your scrap. Now, scrappers, think about it. What do we have that you want? Information. What do you have that we want? Knowledge and information. We want you to tell us what you're looking to learn about so we can continue to push it forward. I could sit here and talk about rrcats.com and tell you that the prices are stable and the markets are good and they're a really good, brand to deal with. Well, of course, I own them, right? We work with so many scrappers that are, fans, but we try to earn people's business, just like here at iScrap, try to earn your views and earn your information so you can tell us what we can do to help you make more money with your scrap. It's really, really difficult to learn about some of these things. And when you do learn about them, you have to watch the markets closely. And that's why we update the prices daily with the national price averages. That's why we have news alerts that go out to the different markets. And that's why we do these weekly podcasts to help you learn more about the scrap markets. And if that isn't enough, our podcast, Scrap You Later, has dozens of episodes talking about stories that I've experienced in the scrap metal world, talking about different experiences in the metals markets, advice on what you can do to make more money, further your business, create and expand yourself. And those are some of the things that we're looking to do, but we can only do them with your input and your feedback. So let us know what we can do to help you make more money with your scrap. Now, scrappers, over the next week, we're hoping to see the copper markets calm down. We have seen steel and iron prices having a really nice rebound, with the markets up about $40 per ton in the month of May, which is really good news. With those prices up, with the copper prices still, I mean, don't try to sit here and play me a fiddle. Oh my goodness, the markets are down for copper. I mean, come on, call it like it is. A month and a half ago, if I told you the copper prices were going to jump 20 cents from where they are, you would have taken it. So the fact that we saw them up still after we've had a drop is still really good news. And with copper Bear Bright still being quoted between $3.40 and $4.10 a pound throughout the country, these are really good pieces of market news. Now, scrappers, we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you think. We want to hear what you would like us to talk about. So make sure you send us emails, tag us in your posts, check out our YouTube videos. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We have another question before we sign off.
What can be done when my yard hasn't paid me in a reasonable amount of time? It's been 19 days and they're giving me the runaround. Can I get my copper back?
That's an awesome question. So we've actually had this a few times over the last couple of years about where yards are taking slower to pay. Now, there's a couple of things that we could tell you about. Number one, if they send checks out, we ourselves have had hundreds of checks lost over the last few years. So it could be just a minor issue that they sent you a check and it got lost in the mail. So you have to just call them, verify, they'll check their account hadn't seen the check cash and they should reissue it. But any scrapyard that doesn't pay you in a timely fashion, that's something that you want to really be aware of. And it's probably going to be solved better with you going in person than calling someone over the phone. That might take a little longer. So if you do have a problem with your, whether material back that was dumped in a pile, whether you haven't gotten paid for material, these are all things that are generally solved quicker and easier directly in person because the person has nowhere to run. When you call scrapyards looking for answers, the person that you might need to talk to might be on the other line, might be at a job site, might just be ignoring you. But when you show up and you see the person that's in charge, it gives you the ability to talk one-on-one and hopefully get your problem solved quickly. We have another question.
What makes rotors worth so much more compared to other iron scrap?
Yeah, so rotors are just a really high grade of steel that are not meant to rust. So they have a little extra silicon inside. They go through an additional heating process because when they're on those cars, you want to have a very minimal amount of wear and tear. So they go through a much more strenuous process to fabricate them than regular pieces of steel that have a much higher rust factor, more corrosion, and these are some of the reasons that rotors are generally a better grade. They're more pure steel, if you will. They're more hardened, have a higher resale value in the scrap metal world. Now, scrappers, this is Tom from the iScrap app, and today is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. We're so happy that you were able to tune in. We love to hear your questions, your ideas, your comments. Any ideas that you want us to talk about, let us know, and we'll make sure to get those addressed as quickly as we can. Every Sunday, we have our week price alerts, so you can see what some of the prices that other people have reported online. And of course, you can always report your own prices. And with our new iScrap app 2.0 coming out this summer, we're going to give you more of an ability to post prices, read prices, check out charts, learn about metals, and read different blogs. Okay, read different things that are going on with the market. Sorry, we're having a couple technical issues. If you have any other questions for us, let us know. Until next week, scrappers, I'm Tom from the iScrap app, and I'll scrap you later.